Good evening. Let the day set itself down now, just for a while. You don't have to carry it into the dark with you. Wherever you are, however you're lying, you're in the right place, and there is nothing you need to do tonight except listen and breathe, and let the sound of this voice move slowly through you like warm water finding its level. This is the third week of our quiet program together, a calm, guided session built on the principles of something called CBT-I, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, the approach that sleep specialists most often turn to first when sleep has become hard. And I want to be plain with you, gently, right at the start, before we go any deeper. This is a relaxation session and a little piece of teaching based on those principles. It isn't therapy itself, and it isn't medical advice, and it isn't a diagnosis or a cure. It's a companion for the night. If your sleep troubles are severe, or they've gone on, or they're tangled up with something heavier, please bring them to a doctor or a sleep professional who can see the whole of you. Think of tonight as one small, steadying hand on your shoulder, not the whole of your care, just a part of it. Nothing I say here will fix everything by morning, and I won't pretend that it can. But many people find that, over time, working gently with these ideas can help sleep come a little easier and feel a little more solid. Modest and honest, that's all I'll ever offer you. And maybe you've come here at the end of a long stretch of nights like this. Maybe tonight you were lying here in the dark before you reached for this, whispering the old questions to yourself. Why can't I sleep? How do I quiet a mind that won't stop turning? Why do I lie here so tired and yet so awake? Why does my sleep feel so thin, so broken, so easy to lose? If any of that is you, then let your shoulders come down a little, because you really are in the right place, and you don't have to solve any of it right now. Tonight, those questions can loosen their grip. We're going to set them down, one at a time, and turn instead toward something quieter. So let yourself be held by whatever is beneath you, the mattress underneath your body, the pillow beneath the weight of your head. Feel how the surface rises up to meet you, taking your weight completely, asking nothing back. You don't have to hold yourself together here. You can let the bed do the holding. Let your arms be heavy. Let your legs be heavy. Let the small muscles around your eyes, the ones that have been working all day long, simply stop their work now and rest. Let me tell you softly what this week is about, and then we'll leave the teaching behind and let it dissolve into the quiet. This week we're thinking about your sleep window. It's a simple idea underneath, even though it can sound strange the first time you hear it. When sleep has been difficult for a long while, a very natural thing happens. We start spending more and more time in bed, trying to catch it. We go up early, hoping. We stay late in the morning, hoping. We lie there long past the point of sleeping, waiting for it to come back. It makes complete sense. If sleep is scarce, you widen the net, you give it every chance. But here is the gentle paradox at the heart of this week. The more hours we spend in bed awake, the thinner our sleep can become. It spreads itself out like a small amount of water poured across a wide, shallow tray, the same water, but now it barely covers the surface. Broken, light, easy to disturb. And the quiet remedy is almost the opposite of what worry tells us to do. Instead of widening the time in bed, we gently, carefully narrow it so that it comes closer to matching the sleep you're actually getting. We pour that same water into a smaller, deeper vessel, and something begins to change. The pressure to sleep, the natural drive that builds in the body the longer we're awake, gathers and deepens. Sleep grows more solid, more continuous, less easily broken in the small hours. You're not making sleep by force. You're giving it the conditions to become whole again. Over time, once that deeper sleep has taken root, the window can be widened again, a little at a time, keeping the good solid sleep and letting more of it fill in. That's the shape of it. Match your time in bed to your real sleep, let the sleep deepen, and then let it grow. Now, because this is one of the parts of this whole approach that asks for real care, I want to slow right down and be careful with you here. Gently, not to alarm you, only to look after you. Narrowing time in bed, what the specialists call sleep restriction, is powerful precisely because it works with the body's own sleep drive. But powerful things deserve respect. So a few soft cautions, and then we truly let all of this go. Never set your window dangerously short. This is not about grinding yourself down to 4 or 5 hours and calling it discipline. A sensible floor is usually somewhere around 5.5 or 6 hours in bed, and never less. And you build up from there, not down. Go slow. There is no prize for rushing this. And in the days you might try it, know that you may feel a little more tired before you feel more rested. So please, don't drive when you're drowsy. Don't work with anything sharp or heavy or dangerous when sleep is pulling at you. Be kind to yourself in the daylight. And if you live with certain conditions, bipolar disorder, or a seizure disorder like epilepsy, or if your work carries real safety risks where a tired moment could matter, then this particular piece is one to walk through with a professional first, before you shorten anything at all. There's no hurry. The idea will keep. Your safety comes before any technique. But there is one part of this week that costs nothing and asks nothing dangerous of you and quietly holds the whole rhythm together, and that's your rise time. The hour you get up in the morning. If you change one thing, let it be this. Choose a time to rise, a reasonable one, and let it become the fixed point that everything else turns around. The same time on the slow days and the busy days, near enough the same on the weekends too, because your body is listening for a rhythm. It wants to know when the day begins so it can learn when the night should begin. A steady rise time is like the first firm stitch in a loose seam. Everything else gathers around it and holds. You don't have to force sleep at night. You only have to keep meeting the morning at the same doorway and let the nights slowly organize themselves behind it. That's the anchor. Consistent waking, gently held, night after night, until the rhythm remembers itself. And that is all the teaching for tonight. You don't have to hold any of it. You don't have to memorize a single word or plan a single thing or decide anything before morning. In fact, the deciding can wait for the daylight, when your mind is clearer and kinder and the choices are easier to see. For now, right now in the dark, your only work is to let go, to let these ideas settle somewhere beneath the surface, where they can do their quiet work without you watching them. Let the teaching sink out of sight now, like a stone lowered slowly into still water, down and down, until the ripples smooth over and the surface goes calm again. Because the real driver of sleeplessness, the thing underneath all of it, is arousal, a body and a mind kept a little too switched on, a little too ready, long past the hour when readiness serves us. And so the deepest thing we can do tonight isn't to try harder. It's to turn the dial the other way, to let the switched-onness drain out of you slowly, from the top of your head all the way down through the soles of your feet, until there's nothing left to hold up and nothing left to hold on to. So let's begin the way we always begin, with the breath, not changing it, not deepening it on purpose, not counting it yet, not making it into a task, just finding it where it already is. Let your attention drift down to the gentle rise and fall of it, the place where the air comes in and turns and goes out again, all on its own, the way it has all your life without your help. Notice the small coolness as the breath comes in. Notice the softer warmth as it leaves, and that's all. Let the breath breathe you. And now, if you'd like, on the next few breaths out, let the out-breath grow just a little longer than the in-breath. Not forced, just allowed to lengthen, the way a sigh lengthens at the end of a long day. Breathing in, easy and quiet, and breathing out, long and slow, a little longer, as though the breath is pouring softly out of you and taking a small weight with it each time. The out-breath is where the body learns to settle. The out-breath is the doorway down, so let it lengthen. In gently. And out longer, softer, slower, and again, in and a long, warm way out. With each of those slow breaths out, you might begin to feel a heaviness gathering in you, the good heaviness, the kind that means the muscles are finally letting go of a grip they've held all day without even knowing it. Let it start wherever it wants to start. Perhaps in the jaw first, that place we clench without noticing. Let the back teeth part, just slightly. Let the jaw hang loose and soft. Perhaps in the space between your eyebrows, that small knot of the day's thinking, let it smooth, let it widen, let it go blank and easy. Let the whole weight of your face soften until it's just resting there, expression by expression falling away, until there's no expression left to hold at all. And feel that softness begin to travel, down through the neck, where so much of the day gets carried, all those small tensions of holding yourself upright and alert. Let the neck give its weight fully to the pillow now, let it be done holding. Down across the shoulders, and feel them drop, feel them slide down and back and away from the ears, sinking toward the bed, heavier, lower, letting go of a burden they didn't even know they were carrying. There's a quiet relief in that, isn't there? The shoulders finally coming down. Let them. And the heaviness keeps moving, warm and unhurried, down along the arms, down through the upper arms, and the elbows, and the forearms, all growing heavier, all growing warmer, as though a slow warmth were being poured into them from above and settling in the low places, down into the wrists, down into the hands, all the way out to the very tips of the fingers, until the hands are so heavy and so warm they feel like they belong to the bed, now more than to you, too heavy to lift, too settled to move, and no reason at all to move them. Just resting, just warm, just done. And your breath goes on beneath all of this, slow and long and easy, each out-breath carrying you a little further down. You don't have to steer it anymore. You don't have to keep count. The breath knows the way. Let it breathe you toward the quiet, while the warmth and the weight keep spreading, keep sinking, keep loosening every place they touch, deeper and deeper into the dark and the still. And now let that same heaviness find the lower half of you, the part that has carried you from room to room all day, up and down stairs, across floors, standing when you'd rather have sat, the part that has quietly asked for nothing and been given no rest until now. Let the attention pour down slowly from the hips, warm as water finding its level, into the long muscles of the thighs. Feel them let go of their length. Feel them grow dense and heavy against the bed, giving up the last of their readiness to stand, to move, to go anywhere at all. There is nowhere to go now. There is nothing to walk toward. So the legs can finally stop being legs that carry and become simply weight, simply warmth, resting fully into whatever holds them. Down past the knees, and let the knees unlock, let them soften from the inside. Down through the calves, that deep quiet ache of the day loosening thread by thread. Down into the ankles, and the arches, and the heels pressed gently into the bed. All the way out to the toes, until the feet are as heavy and as done as the hands were, until the whole body from crown to sole is one long low tide of weight, sinking, settling, held. And notice, if you turn your attention to it gently, the way you'd glance at something without staring, notice how the bed is holding all of that weight for you. You aren't holding yourself up anymore. You aren't doing the holding at all. The mattress underneath you, the pillow beneath your head, they are taking the entire load of you, every pound of it, without effort and without asking anything back. You could not fall. There is nothing left to brace against. And so all the small muscles that have spent the whole day, and maybe the whole week, and maybe far longer than that, quietly bracing, quietly ready, quietly on guard, those muscles can be told softly that their watch is over now. They can stand down. The body is safe. The body is held. Nothing here needs guarding tonight. This is what your bed is for. Not for solving, not for planning, not for lying in the dark rehearsing tomorrow or replaying today, but for this. For being held, for letting go. Over these nights we are teaching the body something simple and old, something it already half remembers, that this place, this weight of you against these sheets, this particular dark is a cue, a signal, a doorway that means only one thing: rest. And every night that you lie here and let the weight take you down like this, without struggling, without trying to force anything, the doorway grows a little wider and a little more familiar, until the body learns to step through it almost the moment you arrive. You don't have to make that happen tonight. You only have to lie here and let it be easy. The learning happens on its own, quietly, in the background, the way a path wears smooth just from being walked. And if some part of you is still a little busy, still turning something over, still half listening for a thought, that's all right. You don't need to fight it or push it away. Pushing is just another kind of effort, and we are setting effort down tonight. Instead, let that busy part of you have something soft to rest against. Let it rest against sound. Listen without trying to listen. Somewhere out past these words there is the low, ordinary sound of the room you're in, the faint hum a house makes when it thinks no one is listening, the small settlings, the hush of air, maybe the distant grain of the world outside, a car far off, the wind finding a corner, nothing that needs anything from you. Let those sounds be exactly where they are. You don't have to name them. You don't have to follow them. They can simply arrive and pass and dissolve, like the breath arriving and passing, each one a little further away than the last, as though the whole world were slowly turning its volume down, one soft notch at a time, and leaving you here in the deepening quiet at the center of it. And beneath all those small sounds, if you listen even more softly, there's the sound that's always with you, the slow tide of your own breathing. In and out, that long, unhurried out-breath still carrying you down. You've been breathing that quiet rhythm your whole life, through every night you can remember and every night you've forgotten, and it has never once needed you to manage it. It doesn't need you now. So let the sound of it become like the sound of water somewhere in the dark, a stream you can't see, moving over stones, endlessly, patiently, going exactly where water goes, which is always downward, always toward the lowest and stillest place. Let your breath be that water. Let each slow exhale be a little more of you flowing down into the low, still place where sleep is already waiting, dark and warm and wide. There's a warmth spreading through the center of you now, through the belly and the chest, the deep warmth of a body that has finally stopped defending itself, the warmth of trust. You might feel it most strongly right in the middle, just beneath the ribs, a soft glow that rises and falls gently with the breath, and with every rise and fall it seems to grow a little wider, softening outward through the torso, up into the chest, down into the hips, until the whole trunk of you is warm and slow and heavy and utterly at rest. Nothing aches here, nothing is clenched. There is just this quiet furnace of ease in the middle of you, banked low for the night, keeping you warm from the inside, while the weight keeps pulling you down and the sounds keep drifting further away. And I want you to know gently while you rest here that you do not have to fall asleep. That might sound strange, but so much of the trouble with sleep begins the moment we start trying to catch it, chasing it, watching for it, checking to see whether it's coming yet, and sleep is a shy thing. It doesn't come when it's watched. It comes when we look away. So tonight there is nothing to catch and nothing to chase. Your only task, if you even want to call it a task, is to lie here and be comfortable, to rest, to let the weight be heavy and the warmth be warm and the breath be slow. Sleep will come or it will not, on its own schedule, in its own time, the way it always has, whether you worried about it or not. And if it comes, good, and if it takes its time, that's all right too, because resting like this, warm and heavy and unbothered in the dark, is itself a deep and real rest, and your body is drinking it in even now. Take the pressure off entirely. There is nowhere to arrive. You are already exactly where you're meant to be, which is here, and here is enough. Feel how the taking off of that pressure loosens something further in you. When there's nothing to achieve, there's nothing to tense against. The chest can open. The breath can drop lower into the belly, slower still. And you may notice the mind itself beginning to loosen its grip in the very same way the body has thoughts arriving softer now, and slower, with more space between them, less like a stream of words, and more like the last few leaves drifting down from a tree at the end of autumn, one, and then after a while another, turning slowly as they fall, and no hurry to them at all. You don't have to chase those thoughts, and you don't have to clear them away. Let them fall. Let there be more and more space between them, wide, soft gaps of quiet, and let yourself sink into those gaps, into the roomy silence between one thought and the next, where there's nothing at all to hold and nothing at all to do. And if a thought about tomorrow drifts in, some small task, some worry, something you don't want to forget, You can meet it the way you'd meet a knock at the door very late at night, when you've already decided you're not opening it. You hear it, you know it's there, and you simply let it be on the other side of the door unanswered, because whatever it is not for tonight. Tonight the door is closed and the house is dark and you are already lying down. Tomorrow will still be tomorrow, and it will keep just fine until then, and you will meet it far better rested than the version of you that lay awake wrestling it in the dark. So let the thought stay outside. Let it knock if it wants to. You are not getting up. You are staying exactly here, heavy and warm and low, where the only thing being asked of you is to keep breathing slowly out, and to let each breath take you a little deeper down. Down, that's the whole direction now. Not forward into the plans of tomorrow, not backward into the day just gone. Just down and into the still center of this moment, into the body, into the breath, into the warm dark. And as you sink, you might feel the edges of yourself beginning to blur just slightly, the exact line where your hand ends and the sheet begins growing softer, harder to find, less important to find. The boundary between the weight of you and the bed that holds you dissolving a little, the way the shoreline dissolves at dusk, when you can no longer quite tell where the sand ends and the dark water starts. Let those edges go soft. There's a deep comfort in it, in not having to hold your own outline so precisely, in letting yourself spread and settle and merge with the warmth around you, until you're less a body in a bed and more just a slow, warm heaviness breathing quietly in the dark, with no sharp edges left anywhere. And the breath keeps lengthening on its own now, without you asking, the out-breaths drawing out long and slow and complete, each one emptying you a little more fully, each one leaving you a little more settled at the bottom of itself, before the next slow breath rises to fill you again. There's a pause sometimes at the very end of the out-breath, a small still place where nothing is happening, where the old breath has gone and the new one hasn't yet begun, and that little pause is one of the quietest places in the whole body. You don't have to make it. It makes itself. But you can rest there when it comes, in that soft, empty stillness at the bottom of the breath, and let it be a taste of the deeper stillness you're sinking toward. Breathe out long and slow and rest in the quiet at the bottom. And when the next breath comes, let it come by itself, easy, unhurried, and then let it go again, longer, softer, down. Everything is slowing. The breath is slowing. The thoughts are slowing and spacing out and dimming. The whole tempo of you is winding gently down, like a clock at the very end of its winding, the tick coming slower and slower, softer and softer, with longer and longer silences between, and no alarm in that, no urgency, only the natural and welcome slowing of a thing that is finally allowed to come to rest. You have been going for so long, all day, all week. Maybe you feel as though you've been going, underneath, for years, always a little braced, always a little ready, never quite all the way off. Tonight you can be all the way off. Tonight you can set it down completely. There is nothing left for you to carry until morning, and morning is a long, long way from here, on the far side of a whole night of rest, and you don't have to think about it at all. Just this, just the weight, heavy and complete, just the warmth, deep in the center of you, glowing low, just the breath, slow water flowing down, just the sounds of the room turning softer and further away, just the dark behind your eyes, wide and cool and kind, with no edges and no demands, opening around you like the largest, quietest room there has ever been. And you settling into the middle of it, lower and lower, softer and softer, held completely, needing nothing, doing nothing, going nowhere but down, and down into the deep and the still, where the breath breathes itself and the body rests, and the long night waits with all its hours around you like a dark and gentle sea. Let yourself drift there. Let the current of the breath carry you wherever it drifts, without steering, without watching, without needing to know. Each exhale a little further from the shore, each one a little deeper into the warm, dark water, where it's quiet and slow and safe, and there is nothing to reach for and nothing to hold, and the only thing left of the whole day is this soft, heavy, warm, and slowly fading sense of sinking, gently, endlessly down. And as you drift there, something in you knows the way. This is the thing that's easy to forget in the bright hours, when sleep feels like a task you have to get right, but the body has done this thousands of times, all on its own, long before you ever thought to worry about it. It knew how when you were small. It knows how still. Sleep isn't something you do. It isn't a place you have to find your way to, or a door you have to push open, or a rope you have to pull yourself along hand over hand. It's something that happens to you, the way the tide happens to the shore, the way evening happens to a field, not by effort, but by allowing. And all night long your only work, if you can even call it work, is to keep allowing. To keep letting go of the wheel. To notice softly whenever some small part of you has picked the reins back up, and to set them down again, gently, without any blame, and let the body do what the body already knows how to do. So let the deep old wisdom under your thinking take the night from here. It knows how to slow the heart. It knows how to cool the blood and soften the muscle and lower you degree by degree into the places where you mend. You don't have to understand it any more than you understand how a wound closes over while you look away, or how the hair grows, or how the food becomes the body. It happens beneath you, in the dark, without your watching, and it happens best when you're not watching at all. Tonight you can look away. Tonight you can turn your attention loose and let it wander off wherever it likes, and trust the machinery of rest to run itself, quietly, all the way till morning, without one word of instruction from you. And notice now how the surface beneath you is holding all of it, the whole loose weight of you given over. There is a place where your body meets the bed, a long, warm seam of contact running the length of you, and along that seam you are simply held, completely, the way the ground holds a fallen leaf, the way a hand holds a sleeping animal. You are not falling, you have already landed. The holding is total, and it asks nothing back. Feel how the mattress rises to meet the shoulder, the hip, the heavy back of the skull, taking their weight so patiently that you can let those places go slack, one after another, and know they'll still be held. There's a particular kind of rest that only comes when the body finally believes it's safe to stop bracing, when it stops holding even a little of itself up, and that belief is settling into you now, spreading along that warm seam of contact like heat soaking into stone. You are held. You can stop holding. You have been let down at last, all the way onto something that will not let you fall. And this place, this bed, this dark, this exact soft weight of covers over you is quietly becoming what it's meant to be. Not a place where you lie and wait and worry. Not a place where the mind sharpens and the hours are counted. Just a place for this, for sinking, for softening, for the slow, warm slide down into sleep. Night after night, without your trying, the body learns the meaning of a place by what happens there, and what is happening here now is rest, nothing but rest, so that the very feel of the sheets and the shape of the dark and the weight of your own head on the pillow are becoming, all on their own, a signal to let go. A cue the body reads before the mind can even speak. Lie here often enough in this loosened, drifting, well-held way, and the bed itself begins to carry you down the moment you arrive in it, the way a familiar chair unstiffens the back, the way the smell of a certain room can slow the breath before you've even sat. That's what's forming here, quietly, in the dark. Not effort, a habit of ease, a place your body knows means down. So let the association deepen while you drift. Every slow breath you release into this bed teaches it a little more surely. Here we soften, here we sink, here the day is put down. You don't have to do anything to make that lesson land. It's landing on its own. In the wordless way the body learns everything that matters, through the simple fact of what keeps happening. And what keeps happening tonight is this long, unhurried loosening, this warm and weightless letting go, so that tomorrow night, and the night after, the coming into bed will feel a little more like coming into rest. The covers a little more like an invitation your whole body already knows how to accept. Somewhere far off, the house is settling too. A house at night does its own quiet letting go, the small tick of something cooling in the walls, the barely there shift of wood easing after the warmth of the day, sounds so soft they're almost not sounds at all, only the texture of a building breathing out its own long exhale. You don't have to listen for them. They're just there, at the edges, the ordinary night sounds of a place at rest, and each one you happen to catch can loosen you a little further, because each one says the same thing the dark is saying, the same thing the bed is saying. Everything here is winding down, everything here is safe to release, nothing here needs guarding tonight. Let the small sounds come and go like that, unremarkable, unimportant, dissolving almost before you've noticed them, each one a little further off than the last, until even the idea of listening grows too heavy to hold and simply slips from your hands. And how far away it's all becoming. The room, the sounds, the shape of the walls you can't see, all of it drifting outwards softly, as though the space around you was slowly widening, the edges of things receding into a gentle blur, until there's no clear boundary anymore between you and the dark, between the dark and the deep, between waking and the wide, still water underneath it. You're loosening at the seams of yourself, in the good way, the way a knot loosens when you stop pulling, the way a fist opens when there's finally nothing left to hold. The outline of you is going soft. Where the body ends and the bed begins is harder and harder to feel, and less worth the trouble of finding out. And so you let that question go too, and let the edges stay blurred, and float in the warm, unbounded middle of it, with nothing to hold you in shape but the slow tide of the breath. There is so much night ahead of you. Hours and hours of it, dark and deep and unhurried, stretching out ahead like a long, slow road with no traffic on it, no turns to watch for, nowhere you have to be. You are near the very beginning of all that rest, not the end, and there is no need to reach for anything, no need to hurry toward morning, no need to measure how far you've come or how far there is to go. The night will keep itself. It will turn slowly around you without your help, hour folding softly into hour, and you can let every one of those hours arrive and pass while you lie here, sunk and held and warm, going nowhere, doing nothing, adding nothing to the small warm fact of your own resting weight. Time can pool now and thicken and slow until an hour feels like nothing and a minute feels like an hour, and it doesn't matter which, because you have no more use for the clock tonight than the field has for it, or the tide, or the sleeping animal in its burrow, with the long dark hours turning gently overhead. Let the sense of time go loose the way the body has gone loose. There's nowhere the next moment has to laid. You can rest in this one as long as it lasts, and when it slides into the next you won't even feel the seam, one breath easing into another, one soft dark moment into the one that follows, all of it flowing so slowly and so smoothly that there's no edge anywhere to catch on, nothing to mark the passage, only the long unbroken drift of a night that asks nothing of you but to be slept through, and you are sleeping through it. Already the surface is far above you, the daylight self far above you, the one who plans and checks and worries left behind up there in the thin bright air, while you sink beneath it into the warm dark quiet where none of that reaches, where none of that is even real, where there's only the weight and the warmth and the slow water of the breath carrying you down. And if a thought should drift through, even now, even this deep, let it drift through the way a slow current carries a leaf across dark water and away. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to answer it or finish it or decide anything about it. Thoughts can come and go all night at the far edge of the mind without ever pulling you up from where you are, the way clouds can cross a night sky without disturbing the deep field beneath them, the way something can move on the surface of a lake without the still cold dark at the bottom ever knowing it was there. You're at the bottom now, down in the still and quiet, where the small movements up above don't reach. Let them move. Let the last few thoughts wander loose across the surface, growing dimmer, growing further, thinning into nothing, and stay where you are, low and heavy and warm, watching them go from very far away. until watching itself grows too dim to keep hold of, and lets you go, and lets you sink another slow degree deeper into the dark. Notice how even the wish to sleep has grown quiet. Earlier in the night maybe, some part of you was leaning forward toward it, wanting it, reaching, and reaching is its own small effort, its own faint tension, a hand held out in the dark. But you don't have to reach anymore. Sleep isn't ahead of you now, something to arrive at. It's already rising up around you from underneath, soaking up through the body, the way water soaks up through sand at the edge of the tide, filling you slowly from the feet, from the hands, from the deep of the belly, a heaviness that is sleep itself beginning to pool in you and rise. You can feel it coming up through the legs, that thick sweet leaden softness up through the hips, into the long muscles of the back, filling the chest, spilling warm into the shoulders and down the arms to the very ends of the fingers, rising and rising like a slow warm tide until it laps at the throat, the jaw, the soft place behind the eyes. And you let it rise, you let it cover you, you let it close warm and dark over the top of you and take you under completely without a struggle, without a sound. And there's a kind of trust in that going under that the body remembers from a long, long way back, from before the worries, before the counting, before you ever learn to lie awake. The trust of something small and safe, held in the warm dark, letting sleep take it because nothing in the world is asking it to stay awake. That's yours again tonight. Nothing is asking you to stay awake. Nothing needs you between now and the far-off morning. Every duty you carry has been set down at the edge of the dark, and it will still be there, whole and waiting, when the light comes back, but that's hours and hours away, on the other side of the whole deep night, and it has nothing to do with you now. Now there is only the going under, soft and total, the warm tide closing over, the old safe trust of a body that knows it's allowed, at last, to disappear into sleep. So disappear. Let the last of the day dissolve off you like the last warmth leaving a stone after dark, given up slowly into the wide, cool quiet, until there's nothing left of the day at all, no leftover tension in the hands, no unfinished thoughts still turning, no thin thread of the morning's worry running through you, nothing but the deep warm weight, and the slow low breath, and the vast soft dark holding all of it, holding you patient and endless and kind. You are so far down now, so far in. The surface is only a memory of light somewhere overhead, and even that is fading, dimming, going out, as the dark grows richer and rounder and more complete around you, folding in close, drawing you the last gentle distance down into the place where sleep is already waiting to take you the rest of the way. And it will take you the rest of the way. You don't have to finish the journey yourself. There comes a point every night where you let go of the last thin edge of knowing and the dark simply carries you the final distance without you, and you are very near that point now, nearer with every slow breath, close enough that you can stop paying attention to how close, close enough to just let the next breath out and let it lower you over the edge and down. Nothing to hold, nothing to watch, nothing to keep. Only the long warm falling away, the soft unhurried sinking, the deep dark water closing gently over the last of you, as everything grows quieter and heavier and further and dimmer and slower and warmer and darker and more still. Let it all keep fading. Let the sound of these words fade too into the general softness, until they're no different from the small settling sounds of the house, or the slow hush of your own breathing, or the wide low murmur of the dark itself. Just another gentle texture at the edge of a mind that's mostly asleep now, a voice you no longer have to follow, no longer have to make sense of, that you can let blur and run together and dissolve like everything else into the warm dark quiet where you're drifting. You don't have to catch the meaning anymore. You don't have to keep the thread. Let the words come apart into pure soft sound, and let that sound sink into the deeper silence underneath it, and let the silence take you and hold you and carry you down. Down where the breath has grown so slow and so shallow it hardly stirs you at all, just the faintest warm rise, the faintest slow fall, far away, tending itself, needing nothing. Down where the body has gone so heavy and so warm and so completely still that you've almost forgotten you have won, that soft leaden weight barely yours anymore, sunk deep into the holding bed and left there, forgotten, cared for, safe. Down where there's no room and no walls and no edges and no time, only the wide warm dark, and the deep slow quiet, and the endless gentle sinking that asks nothing and promises rest and goes on, and on softly all the way down into sleep. Deeper now, softer now, warmer and heavier and further and darker, and more still, with the whole long night still ahead of you, dark and deep and kind, and nothing at all left to do but drift and sink and let it hold you and go on down. And as you go, notice how little there is to do down here, how the doing itself has quietly stopped, somewhere back up the slope, without your ever deciding it. There was a time earlier tonight when some part of you was still working, still keeping a small watch, still measuring the dark, still asking softly whether this was working, whether sleep was coming, how long it might take. And that watching has simply set itself down, the way a hand that's held something too long finally opens on its own and lets the thing rest in its palm without gripping. You are not gripping anything now. Your whole self has gone loose and open and unhurried, and the night is doing the holding for you, and there is nothing left in you that needs to check. That in its own quiet way is the whole of it, not effort, not trying to sleep, which only ever holds sleep at arm's length, the way you can never quite look straight at a dim star. It slips aside the moment you aim at it, and only comes clear when you let your gaze go soft and let it arrive at the edge of things. Sleep is like that. It comes to the edges. It comes when you stop reaching, when you let the wanting it dissolve into simple resting, and rest is enough. Rest by itself is plenty, whether or not you can feel the exact moment sleep folds in over the top of it. You have stopped reaching now, and so it can come. Let a little more of the room dissolve. Not by picturing it, there's no need to see anything, nothing to build behind your eyes, only by letting your sense of where the walls are go vague and unimportant, letting the corners lose their corners, letting the ceiling drift up out of reach, and the floor sink away beneath, until the space around you is no longer a shape you're keeping track of, but just a soft surround, warm and formless and near. Pressing in gently on every side, like the inside of something that was made to fit exactly around a resting body. You don't have to know how big it is. You don't have to know where anything ends. The not knowing is comfortable here. The not knowing is part of the rest. And underneath you, the surface that carries your weight has stopped being furniture. It's simply the thing that holds you now, steady, level, entirely trustworthy, taking the full heavy load of you without the slightest strain, so that every ounce of holding yourself up that your body was still quietly doing can now be handed over completely to something that will not tire and will not let you slip. Feel how much your body wants to give that over. Feel the long exhale of it, the shoulders sinking that last quarter-inch they were still holding back, the hips going wide and heavy, the whole spine lengthening and softening, and pouring its weight downward through the warm dark into the surface that receives it and keeps it and asks nothing in return. This is what your bed is learning to be, not a place of waiting, not a place where the mind switches on and begins its long circling. Just this, a warm, heavy, trusted place where the body is carried and the effort ends. Night after night, quietly, without your having to force it, this is the message soaking in, that lying here means letting go, that the sheets against your skin mean the day is finished, that this particular dark and this particular weight are the beginning of sleep and nothing else. The old link, the one that made this place feel like a room where you fought to rest, that one is loosening, thread by thread, and a new one is setting in its place, softer and truer, so that in time your body will begin to feel drowsy simply from arriving here, the way it feels hungry at the smell of food, without deciding to, without trying, just answering a cue it has learned in the deep wordless part of itself. You are teaching it that now. You are teaching it just by lying here and letting go this completely. There's nothing else you have to add. So let it keep learning while you sink. Let the lesson happen beneath you, in the dark, without your supervision. It doesn't need you awake to take. If anything, it takes best like this, when the thinking part has gone quiet and small, and the body is left alone with its slow, honest knowing, laying the new habit down in a place words can't reach, a place that only listens when the words have stopped. And the words have nearly stopped. Feel how far apart they've grown, how much soft, dark space there is between one and the next now, whole warm silences opening up where before there was only more voice. You could let go in one of those silences and never notice the next word begin. That would be fine. That would be exactly right. There is no line you have to reach, no last thing you have to hear, nothing that finishes. The silence between the words is wider than the words, and deeper, and it's the silence that's carrying you. The words just drift on top of it like small leaves on very deep, very slow water, and you're far below them now, down in the still part, where nothing moves quickly and nothing needs to. Let the temperature change, carry you deeper. Not a chill, nothing sharp, nothing that pulls you back, only that particular blood warmth that gathers under a heavy blanket in the smallest hours, the warmth that pools in the low places of the body, in the hollow of the back, behind the knees, in the loose open palms. A warmth that seems to come up out of you as much as down onto you, meeting itself in the dark and thickening there until it feels less like heat and more like a kind of soft weight of its own. A warm heaviness that spreads and settles and presses you gently further into the holding surface. Let it climb slowly. Let it fill the legs to the hip and rise through the belly, slow as warmth moving through still water, up into the chest, along the arms, up the throat and over the jaw and around the eyes, until the whole of you is one even warmth, seamless, borderless, with no cold edge anywhere to remind you where you stop and the dark begins. And when the warmth reaches your face, let something happen there that's been waiting to happen all night. Let the small held tension around the eyes let go. Not by squeezing, just by warming. The tiny muscles that aim the eyes, that were still faintly pointing them at nothing in the dark, still faintly ready to look. Let the warmth reach them and let them stop aiming. Let the eyes go loose and idle in their sockets, floating, unpointed, gazing at nothing behind the closed lids, so soft they've forgotten they were ever foreseeing. When the eyes let go like that, the mind lets go a half step further, every time, because so much of thinking rides quietly on that faint readiness to look, and when it fades, the thoughts lose their footing and thin out and drift. Feel them thinning now. Feel how the last few thoughts, if there are any, have gone slow and shapeless and mild, more like weather than like words, passing dim across the wide dark of you and clearing again, leaving no mark, leaving you emptier and calmer and further down each time one drifts through and goes. You don't have to empty your mind. That was never the task, and trying only ever filled it fuller. You only have to let whatever passes through pass all the way through, without following, without turning to watch it go, to let each small thought be like a sound from another room, heard and released in the same soft motion, neither invited nor pushed away, simply allowed, the way the dark allows everything and holds on to nothing. A mind that lets its own contents drift like that is a mind already more than half asleep. And yours is drifting freely now, letting go of each thing almost before it arrives, keeping nothing, chasing nothing, wide and dim and slow and untroubled, coming to rest. Somewhere out beyond the warm surround, the night is going on without you, and that is exactly as it should be. The small sounds of the late hour, the settle and tick of the cooling house, the far-off hush of the world turned down low, whatever faint texture reaches you from beyond the walls, none of it is asking anything of you now. Each sound arrives already softened, already distant, already on its way past, and instead of pulling you up toward it, you feel it float over you and dissolve, leaving the quiet a little deeper than it was before, the way a single ripple, spending itself, leaves the pond stiller than if it had never come. Let every sound do that for you tonight. Let each one, however small, spend itself against your calm and sink away and leave you lower. There is nothing out there you need to attend to. The night has it. The night has all of it, and the night has you, and you can let the whole wide dark keep its own watch while you go down past the reach of listening into somewhere that sound can't follow. And your breath, hardly a breath at all now. So slow, so shallow and unhurried and low that whole soft moments pass at the bottom of each exhale where nothing moves in you at all. A held stillness, warm and complete, before the next slow breath rises of its own accord, unasked, taking care of itself far away, and lowers you again as it goes. You are not breathing so much as being breathed, the body tending its own slow tide down there in the dark without your help, without your notice, the way it will keep tending it all through the long night while you sleep, faithfully, quietly, never once needing you to remember. You can trust it entirely. You can hand it the whole job and turn away, and it will not falter. Every slow fall of the breath is one more small letting go, one more inch of sinking, one more soft loosening of the last few threads that still tie you, faintly, to the surface of being awake. And there are so few of them left now, and they are so thin, and they are slipping so easily, one by one, into the warm dark, unmissed. Feel how the whole shape of you has gone soft at its outline. Earlier you could have drawn the border of yourself, here the skin, here the air, here where I stop and the night begins. And that line has blurred now, gone warm and vague and porous, so that you couldn't quite say anymore where your warmth ends and the dark's warmth starts, where your weight leaves off and the holding surface takes over, where your slow breath finishes and the slow breath of the whole quiet room begins. You are melting gently at the edges into everything that surrounds you, giving your outline back to the dark, and it feels like the safest thing in the world, to stop being so sharply, separately, effortfully yourself, and to spread out soft and warm and boundless into the night that's already holding you, and to rest there, unoutlined, unguarded, at ease. There is a kind of peace that only comes this far down, not the bright peace of a good moment in the day, but something older and deeper and dimmer than that, the peace of an animal that has found its safe place and curled into it and knows, in its bones, below all thought, that nothing here needs guarding against, that it can put the whole burden of its wakefulness down and be defenseless and soft and completely at rest. Your body knows that peace. It has always known it, under everything, waiting beneath all the years of nights that were harder than this, and it is coming up in you now, slow and sure, filling the warm dark hollow where the worry used to sit, so that there's simply no room left in you for anything but this low, wide, wordless ease. Let it fill you all the way. Let it reach the last held corner. Let there be nothing in you tonight that is not resting. And if some small last part of you is still, faintly, listening for the moment it falls asleep, still half waiting to catch the exact edge of it, let that go too, gently, the way you've let everything go. You will not catch it. No one ever does. The crossing over is always missed, always soft, always kinder than the waiting for it, and the not catching is the whole mercy of it, that you get to simply stop mid-drift, without a last thought, without a threshold, without ever having to do the falling yourself. It happens to you. It arrives from underneath and takes you before you know, and the first you'll ever know of it is nothing at all until the far side of the night. So there is truly nothing left to wait for, and nothing left to watch for, and the watching can lie down now beside everything else that's lying down in you and close its eyes and rest. Down here the very idea of time has gone loose and warm and meaningless. There is no hour, there is no how long. There is no morning yet, and no measuring of what's left of the night. All of that has thinned to nothing, unimportant far above, up where the clocks are, up where the counting lives, and you are far below the counting now, in a place with no numbers, where one slow breath simply follows another with no sum being kept, no ledger, no arriving anywhere, only the soft, endless present of resting in the dark, which needs no time to happen in and asks for none. Let the hours take care of themselves out there. You are not in them anymore. You are in the wide, still nowhere underneath them, where sleep keeps its own slow and patient and unhurried time, and there is more than enough of it, always more than you could ever need, pooled deep and dark and warm all around you, yours to sink through slowly for as long as the sinking takes. Nothing hurries here, nothing arrives, nothing is late and nothing is missed. There is only the slow, soft settling of a mind coming to rest, and a body already at rest, and a night that will hold them both, gently, without tiring, until it is done, and you, somewhere in the warm middle of all of it, growing dimmer and softer and further away by the smallest degrees, so gradually that even the growing dimmer has no edges, no steps, no moment you could point to, only the long, smooth, unbroken slide from waking towards sleep, gentle the whole way, warm the whole way, held the whole way down. Let yourself keep sliding. There's no bottom you have to reach and no depth you have to find, just the sliding itself, slow and warm and endless, each breath easing you a little further along it, each small silence between the words letting you slip a little lower, until the words themselves are only a warmth at the far edge of hearing, and the silence has almost entirely taken over, wide and soft and deep, the real thing underneath everything, the place you were always headed. You're nearly all the way into it now, nearly all the way given over, just the last soft, trailing threads of noticing, drifting loose in the dark, ready to let go whenever they let go, needing no permission, needing nothing from you at all. So let them drift. Let the warmth hold you and the weight hold you and the dark hold you and the slow breath rock you, low and even and far away. And let each of those quiet threads slip free in its own time while you sink beneath them, softer and further with every fading breath, deeper and dimmer and more completely at rest, carried down and down through the long warm dark toward the deep still center of the night, where there is nothing left to do and nothing left to keep and nothing left but rest, going on and on and on and on and on with nothing asked of you, nothing at all. You don't have to follow the words anymore. You don't have to hold onto the thread of them or make sense of them or stay with them at all. They can go on by themselves out there low and warm, a sound the dark is making, and you can let them wash past you like slow water, in and out, meaning nothing, needing nothing, just a warmth moving through the room while you go on sinking quietly beneath them. Let hearing become easy. Let it become the easiest thing there is, no reaching for the sound, no leaning toward it, just letting it arrive on its own and letting it go on its own, the way your breath arrives and goes on its own, the way the weight of you settles a little deeper on its own, with no help from you, no effort from you, nothing you have to manage now. And if some small part of you is still keeping a little watch, still half listening for sleep to come, still wondering somewhere far off whether this is working, let that part soften too. It doesn't have to catch the moment. Nobody ever catches the moment. Sleep isn't a thing you do or a place you arrive at with your eyes open to see the door. It's a letting go you never quite witness, a slow loosening that finishes somewhere you're no longer there to notice, and that's exactly as it should be, exactly how it's meant to go. You don't have to be awake for the falling asleep. In fact, the whole gift of it is that you don't, so you can stop waiting for it. You can stop listening for its footsteps. It comes softest to the ones who have stopped waiting, and you've nearly stopped now, nearly all the way stopped, and there's such deep ease in that, such quiet relief, to have nothing left to wait for and nowhere left to get to and no next thing at all. Your bed is holding you, only that. Not a place of effort now, not a place of trying, not somewhere you have to make anything happen, just this warm and simple holding, this surface that carries all your weight so easily, so completely, that you can let every last ounce of yourself go slack against it, and it will not tire, and it will not shift, and it will hold you exactly like this all the way down and all the way through. Night after night it can become this for you, this soft familiar cue, this quiet signal to the animal of your body that the day is done and the holding has begun, and there is nothing to do here but rest. Let tonight lay down one more soft layer of that. Let your body learn again, without words, that lying here means letting go. It's learning it right now. You don't have to teach it. It's already happening in you, low and slow and sure, beneath all thought. And the breath goes on, you're not steering it. You gave that back a long while ago, back up above where the trying was, and it's been carrying itself ever since, slow and low and even, each one a little softer than the last, each one settling you a fraction deeper into the warm and the dark and the weight. In and out. And the small still space at the end of each one, where nothing moves, where nothing is needed, where you rest for a moment in the quiet before the next breath comes on its own. You can live in those small still spaces now. You can let them widen. You can let yourself pool in them, softer each time, further each time, until the breathing and the resting and the sinking are all one slow thing happening far below you, and you are only barely there to feel it, only the faintest warm awareness left, growing fainter, thinning out into the dark like breath into cold air, like a sound trailing off, like the last of the light going down. There is nowhere else to be. There is nothing else to become. Just this, just here. Just the warm and the weight and the dark and the slow breath rocking you and the words getting further away and the silence getting closer, wider, deeper, more and more of it between each thing that's said, more and more room to slip down into, and you slipping, always slipping, gentle and unhurried, with all the time there is. Let the last of the day drain out of your shoulders. Let it drain out of your hands, out of the long muscles of your legs, out of the small tired place behind your eyes. Wherever there's a little holding left, let the warmth find it and loosen it and let it pour away downward, out of you, into the dark, into the bed, gone. You don't need any of it tonight. You can set the whole day down, all of it, the done and the undone alike. It will all still be there in the morning to pick up or to put down again, and none of it needs carrying now, none of it needs solving now, none of it belongs here in the dark with you. Here there is only rest. Here there is only the slow, soft settling of someone finally, completely letting go. Softer now, slower now. Let even these words begin to blur at their edges, to lose their shapes, to become only a warmth, only a low sound in the dark, only the last thin thread of a voice that asks nothing of you and holds you all the same. You don't have to hold it back. Let it thin. Let it go quiet in its own time, the way everything here goes quiet in its own time, and let the quiet that comes after be soft and vast and kind. Down and down and downs. Nothing to do, nothing to keep, nothing to reach for. Only the warm dark and the weight of you resting in it, and the breath, slow and low and far away. Let it carry you. Let it all go loose. Sink, just sink. There's nothing under you but more soft dark, more warmth, more rest, going down and down forever, and you can fall through it as slowly as you like, for as long as you like, with no bottom to hit and no floor to find, only the endless gentle giving way of the dark beneath you, letting you down easy, letting you down slow, holding you the whole way even as you fall. Quieter still. The room is quiet, the dark is quiet. Your body is quiet, heavy and warm and given over, sunk deep into the holding of the bed. And your mind is going quiet too, the last small ripples of it smoothing out, flattening, stilling, until there's hardly anything left moving in there at all. Just a slow warm dimness, spreading, softening, settling, like the last light leaving a room, like still water going dark, like snow coming down on snow. You don't have to follow me any further. This is far enough. You've come all the way down to the soft, still place, and you can stay here now and let go the rest of the way whenever the last of you is ready, needing no word from me, no count, no signal, only your own slow breath, easing you the final small distance, on its own, in its own time. So let me grow faint now. Let my voice thin out into the warm and become part of the dark, part of the quiet, no different from the hush of the room, or the weight of the blankets, or the slow tide of your own breathing, just another soft thing holding you while you go. Rest now. Sink now. Let the warmth have you. Let the weight have you. Let the dark have you, gentle and complete. Down through the last of it, down past the last thin thread, down into the deep still center where there is nothing left but rest. Nothing to do. Nothing to keep. Nothing but this. Warm. Heavy. Slow. Gone soft all the way through. Breathing. Sinking. Held. Resting now in the long warm dark, with all the night still to come, and all of it yours, and nothing left to do but sleep. Down. And softer. And quiet. And down. Rest. Just rest. And sleep.